Tonight on CFTK-TV News. Breaking news today as Premier John Horgan confirmed that BC is in a state of emergency. The flood and road closures in the Lower Mainland have sparked concerns about supply chain disruptions in the north. And Coastal GasLink and protesters outside their camp had things heat up today.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, November 17th. We begin tonight with breaking news as the province has declared a state of emergency in response to the flooding in southern portions. CFTK's Zach Power has been following it and joins me now from the newsroom. Zach, what's the word from the province?
Thanks, Brandon. So BC Premier John Horgan declared a state of emergency, saying he'll preserve basic access to services and supplies for communities that need them the most. Now, he says that the government will bring in travel restrictions to ensure that essential goods and medical emergency services are able to reach communities that need them. Now, Horgan asked residents not to hoard items, and he said what you need is what your neighbors need as well. Every major route in the lower BC mainland and the interior was served by floodings, washouts, and mudslides and record-breaking rain that swept across the province.
So the number of evacuated residents continues to grow in southern BC?
Yeah, there are approximately 17,000 people evacuated due to flooding and 5,900 properties under an evacuation order and 3,600 under an evacuation alert. Now, the federal government has responded in helping British Columbia's request for assistance, and they said that they'll be helping out the province in the near future. Brandon?
All right, that's CFTK-TV's Zach Power joining us from the newsroom. Thank you very much, Zach. The floods and road closures in the Lower Mainland have sparked concerns about a possible supply chain disruption to the north. Here's CFTK's Joshua Azizi with more.
Throughout the Northwest, some grocery store shelves are more empty than usual. In the Walmart and Terrace, shelves of meat, milk, and bread were almost empty last night. In the Prince Rupert Safeway, produce shelves were bare. It's raised concerns that people are panic buying. But according to grocery store managers, it's more complicated. Prince Rupert Safeway manager Ranjit Gill says he did notice an increase in customers and goods sold yesterday. But he says that his store also missed out on shipments of products from the Lower Mainland.
We're missing a couple orders already, so there's a couple trucks that are still haven't arrived. So we are missing at least 2 trucks.
And he says it shouldn't be long before they get more goods in stock.
We have significant supply ready to be transported, and we're using all resources are being utilized to get it done as quickly as possible.
Down in Kitimat, Kyle's No Frills owner, Kyle McGilvery, says the road closures down south meant he missed out on shipments of produce and bread. But he's expecting more shipments to come in soon from Edmonton instead.
It's Wednesday, and I haven't had produce since Sunday now. So, yeah, I've had 3 days, which I'm getting a produce truck in today.
And although he says the store was a little busier yesterday,
I don't think it's panic buying. I think it's just a supply chain disruption. And when people see empty shelves, everyone triggers it's panic buying. And it's just, that's what we sell in a day or two. And if we don't have that supply chain, then we look like that.
As for whether or not Gill thinks there was panic buying,
So they're not really stocking up like it was during COVID, but I think they're just, making sure that they have some of the, few of the essential stuff that they were going to come by later in the week. They're just getting it ahead of time.
North Coast MLA Jennifer Rice says the disruptions in the Lower Mainland won't lead to a massive cut in the supply chain.
We do get a fair amount of goods from Eastern Canada, from Alberta, and grocery stores are adapting. Stores are adapting quickly, trying to get goods that they would normally get from the Lower Mainland to get them from the east part of our province.
And she urged people to resist the urge to stockpile.
If you need milk and eggs, your neighbors and your community probably needs milk and eggs. And so you want to leave some product on the shelves for everyone.
For CFTK-TV News, I'm Joshua Azizi.
Parallel mudslides stranded hundreds of people yesterday on Highway 7 near Agassiz, and then rescue crews, including those from 19 Wing Comox, went to work. CTV's Gord Kurbis shows us how.
For the stranded public, seeing rescue helicopters arrive to airlift them out was a welcome sight.
For me, it was okay, but obviously it was shocking for a lot of people. I felt really bad for a lot of people that were obviously very, very scared or had children that were scared.
Danielle Gelbert, like many others, became trapped by 2 landslides along Highway 7. She spent the night in her vehicle until she and her 3 dogs were flown out on Monday.
Looking around, a lot of people are just happy to get out there, and a few people that are obviously very scared. I don't know if they were just scared of being on the helicopter or the experience altogether.
The motorists were airlifted out by members of 442 Squadron out of CFB Comox.
I would say I picked up more people yesterday than I have in the entire rest of my career since I started this.
Major John Masheffrey was the aircraft commander and one of 3 cormorants that made numerous trips.
We had a little bit of difficulty finding a good landing site, just because, as you can imagine, with the mountain power lines in the river there, it was quite a small area to work with.
When their task was completed, they had airlifted out 311 people, 26 dogs, and 1 cat.
It was a big mix. Obviously, those people were stranded there for quite a few hours, so some were obviously very tired, some were maybe a little nervous, and some were excited to get out of there.
They flew evacuees from the slide area to safety in nearby Agassiz.
All the people that were stranded were lined up and ready to go. They were being managed by the ground search and rescue team.
For crews used to rescuing 1 or 2 people at a time, evacuating this many was a challenge, but was successful because of many agencies working together.
We have the federal, the provincial, the municipal, we got SAR volunteer, we got military, we got paid organizations. So once an emergency of this size occurred, they realize how we all come together and actually work together.
It's a task rescuers hope, though, they won't have to repeat anytime soon. Gord Kirpus, CTV News, Comox.
And we thank the wing for their service. Coastal GasLink and the protesters outside their camp had things heat up today, marking another day that the two had no action between them. CFTK's Zach Power reports.
It's another day of stalemates north of Houston, both sides refusing to budge on a dispute at Coastal GasLink. Mark Miller, there are views that are diametrically opposed, but don't preclude by that same stroke the ability to resolve that in a peaceful way. The Union of BC Indian Chiefs responds saying, quote, "The UBCIC continues to support the efforts of its members and the Gidimt'en clan to peacefully assert and safeguard and inherit their title and rights and to uphold their sovereignty and jurisdiction over unceded Wet'suwet'en territory, stopping liquefied natural gas LNG expansion. UBCIC supports the peaceful resolution of the ongoing dispute between the Wet'suwet'en land defenders and CGL and by the resolution 2019-07. Meanwhile, in Houston, Coastal GasLink remains very concerned about the safety of our over 500 workers who are currently stranded at our 2 lodges in the area as illegal blockades on the Morris River Public Forest Service Road continue to block all exits and access. It has now been 3 days and supplies, including water, are at risk of running out, and access to medical care in the event of emergency continues to be obstructed. Coastal GasLink posted these photos, an aerial view of the damage. Protesters destroyed bridges and blocked roadways onto the site, rendering the bridges useless to the camp. Today marks another brick in the wall as the two stare since Sunday. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Zach Power in Houston.
Coming up next, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he has spoken with Premier John Horgan and mayors of the southern mainland and is pledging to help rebuild in the weeks and months to come. Welcome back. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he has spoken to Premier John Horgan along with the mayors of Abbotsford, Chilliwack, Hope and Merritt and is pledging to help rebuild in the weeks and months to come. This is what we're seeing all over the highways all over the province, and we're not sure when the floodwaters will recede, but when they do, crews will have a difficult task of assessing all of the damage. This video shows just how hard it's going to be with sections of the Coquihalla completely crumbled away. The Minister of Emergency Preparedness, Bill Blair, says that they have approved the deployment of Canadian Forces support personnel to assist with evacuation efforts, support supply chain routes, and protect residents against floods and landslides.
Our maintenance contractors have gathered all the heavy equipment they can. They are ready to clear roads. They are waiting for the signal of when it is safe to do so. And on many of our highways, we fully recognize how important it is right now in British Columbia to reopen the road connections from the Lower Mainland to the interior to get supply chains moving again.
The Canada Border Services Agency confirmed to CTV News that British Columbians who are stranded and can't get home except via crossing the border will be exempt from the COVID-19 pre-arrival test, the test in Canada, and the quarantine requirements. BC is reporting 324 new cases of COVID-19, including 2 epi-linked cases, for a total of just over 213 cases in the province. There are just over 3,000 active cases of COVID-19, and just under 208,000 people have tested positive and recovered. Of the active cases, 379 individuals are in the hospital and 109 are in intensive care. 73 new cases in Northern Health Region, bringing the total active case count in the north to 507. In the last 24 hours, 7 new deaths have been reported for an overall total of 2,281. Northern Health reporting just 2 of those deaths. Turning to the weather, Prince Rupert today had rain about 20 to 30 millimeters, wind gusting to 7 in overexposed coastal sections, high of around 7. Tonight, rain ending late this evening, followed by a 60% chance of showers the rest of the night, wind gusting to 50 overnight and a low of +4. Terrace and Kitimat today, periods of rain, wind gusting to 50, high of around 4. Tonight, periods of rain becoming mixed with wet snow after midnight and mild winds with a low of +1. In the Valley Lakes District today, mainly cloudy, winds, wind chill -9 this morning. And tonight, mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries this evening, low about -6, and with the wind chill -8. On the north coast, Thursday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers, wind gusting to 50 in some sections, temperature steady near +5. Thursday night, cloudy again with a 60% chance of showers, low of +4. But watch out because the weekend will get wet, as you can see rain throughout the weekend and into Monday as well. In the Terrace Kitimat area, Thursday, cloudy with a 60% chance of rain, showers, or wet flurries. Mild winds out there and a high of about +3. Thursday night, cloudy with a 60% chance of rain or showers or flurries even. Windy and low of 0. Snow or rain will stay with us into Monday, temperatures around the freezing mark. In the Bulkley Valley Lakes District, Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, high of +1, wind chill of -8 in the morning. Thursday night, cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries, low of -5. Snow throughout the next 5 days except for Saturday, and even then, there's a 70% chance. Tonight's weather picture was created for us by Audrey from Kitimat. Thank you very much, Audrey. That looks great. Your name has been entered from our Friday draw to win a meal from McDonald's. And for all you other young artists out there who would love to share your weather art with us, you can email it or drop it off to our studios on Lazelle Avenue in Terrace.
Hey kids, send your weather picture to CFTK-TV for a chance to win a free McDonald's Happy Meal. Brought to you by CFTK-TV and McDonald's in Terrace and Smithers.
Checking the highways now, lots of icy driving out there, so do be careful and leave in extra time if you can. Highway 16, watch for slippery conditions between Port Edward to Whitsett. Usk Ferry is currently out of service. Pothole repair between Priestley Station and Minger Road. Highway 37, watch for slippery sections between Kitimat and the Yukon border all the way north. Watch for slippery sections throughout the following highways: Highway 37A, the Niska Highway, Telegraph Creek, and Atlan Highway has compact snow on between Discovery Avenue and the Yukon border. And this is what the province looked like from the province's highway cams. Still to come, A mine in Smithers has been granted the green light for 5 more years of mining tellurium. Welcome back. A mine in Smithers has been granted the green light for 5 years of mining an ore you just might not have heard of. CFTK's Zach Power with more.
Tellurium. It's on your 8th grade periodic table. But you probably don't remember that. But a BC-based mining company now has the rights to mine it for the next 5 years.
We filed, I think back in August or September, a permit application for a 5-year work program, and it got approved, I think early last week, I think it was. So that was good news, and we put up our required bond ahead of time. And anyway, we're excited because we haven't done any work up there since 2012, I think, maybe 2013. So
Dougherty says his mines aren't just used for tellurium.
Well, let me ask you this. What kind of things are you looking for in the mountain?
Well, it's funny you say that, Zach, because there's so much up there on the property that I sort of caution people that if I wasn't worried about being sued by Disneyland, I would call the property Magic Mountain, because, you know, we are up a mountain there, but there's so many different zones there that makes it interesting. If you look at the history of the Deerhorn property, it was actually discovered in 1943 for its tungsten.
While gold and silver are a popular selling feature, he says tellurium is growing in Canada and one of the main providers of solar power.
The economy's turning green and all that is certainly getting the push, but there are other applications that are coming on stream, whether it's, you know, next month or a couple of years from now.
Meanwhile, other companies in BC are developing tellurium-ion batteries that last longer than lithium. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Zach Power in Smithers.
City West and the Gitkin Nation have announced a new partnership agreement to improve internet access for the nation. The partnership will see the creation of a new company that will jointly manage a section of the Connected Coast project, stretching from Kitimat to Hartley Bay, and provide last-mile internet service to that area. The Connected Coast project is an underwater fiber cable currently under development that will bring high-speed internet access to remote communities along BC's coast. Cities West says that the new partnership will ensure Hartley residents will have access to a state-of-the-art fiber-to-home network that will bring them advanced internet, TV, and phone services. Turning to the markets now, a broad-based decline pushed Canada's main stock index lowered midweek, while high inflation in the country last month helped materials such as gold prices climb to a 5-month high. The Canadian dollar down 28/100ths today. The price of gold went up 16.10, oil went down 2.19, lumber went up 45, aluminum also down 50 today. In Toronto, the TSX dropped 64 points, the Venture Index also down 309. In the New York, the Dow Jones sunk 211 points today, and NASDAQ also went down 52.29. When we return, some are calling it the biggest win by the Canadian men's soccer team in a generation. Welcome back. Some are calling it the biggest win by a Canadian men's soccer team in an entire generation. For the first time since 1976, Canada has beaten Mexico in a World Cup qualifier. Let's enjoy the winning goal together.
Johnson has a strike. Joe spills.
In a crucial game, outplaying Mexico in front of more than 44,000 people at Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium, where it was -14 with the wind chill, the national team defeated Mexico 2-1. Canada scheduled the game in Edmonton in November on purpose to maximize its home field advantage, and it worked. Mexico has not lost to Canada since 1990, and the last game that Canada beat Mexico in a World Cup qualifier was in 1976. Canada is now on top of CONCACAF CAF standings. At the top 3 teams will punch their ticket into next year's Qatar World Cup. The BC Auditor General has released a report outlining some of the challenges that buses in the northwest of BC are facing. CFTK's Zach Power has more.
The province's Auditor General has outlined a study into the bus services in BC North. Since the departure of Greyhound, the Auditor General's report found
that the ministry made sure there was an interim bus service delivered, but of course it can improve the monitoring that is done. Secondly, that the interim service put in place covered about half of the former Greyhound commute stops near communities with fewer trips. And very importantly as well, that the ministry is working on a provincial plan, but it's unclear how that is going to address the needs of the people in the north.
The report also notes that BC Bus North routes reached 35 of the 62 stops near communities that Greyhound served. Trips are less frequent and reduced to once or twice a week compared to daily trips on most Greyhound routes, but rates are lower than Greyhounds were.
It does lay out is that the ministry indicated 3 principal reasons as to why there might be less stops than there used to be, and that has to do with nearness to other regions, for example, and safety, and all of that is laid out in the report. So what we want to do is to present to the people in the legislature who we report.
The ministry has accepted the recommendations for the future, and the province is expected to respond to the municipalities next. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Zach Power in Smithers.
And finally tonight, ending on a good note, Northern Health has declared an end to a COVID-19 outbreak at the Bulkley Valley District Hospital's inpatient unit. The outbreak was declared on October 19th. 5 patients and 1 staff member tested positive for the virus in association with the outbreak. Sadly, 1 of the patients did pass away. Only 1 declared outbreak remains in the Northern Health region at the Peace Villa Meadow House long-term care home in Fort St. John. And that's our news for now. Thank you very much for watching. We're here weeknights at 5, 6, and 11 o'clock, except for Thursdays. That's tomorrow night, when football means that we're on after the game at 8:30 and at 11. You can also find our local stories on our website, Twitter, and Facebook page. And for now, from all of us here at CFTK TV News, have a good night.